Hi there, my name is Logan Smith, and today I'm going to share with you some hints and tips on how to increase learning in your synchronous video conferences of your online courses. To help you understand a little bit more about it, we need to understand something about media naturalness theory. Now, media naturalness theory posits that the more a synchronous experience can replicate an in-person environment, the better experience it will be for the students and for the teachers. This will in turn translate into increased learning. One reason for this is that you as teachers will be able to observe visual cues like facial expressions and body language. You can then adjust your teaching to accommodate student needs. You probably know what it's like to see a look of confusion on a student's face and realize that it's time to go back and review a concept. You probably have also witnessed students who are looking intently and engaged in a lesson. You've become accustomed to using these clues to determine how learning is going in your classes. And that's an important skill that you as a teacher use regularly. Because you're not in the same room as your students, you need to do everything you can to create the most natural experience possible and to see those important visual clues. It can be a challenge, but you are an educator and you're a problem solver. So here's a few tips to help you out. Tip number 1, encourage and expect your students to use the camera. If cameras are not being used, you will not see the students. This means you'll not be able to see those visual cues that you're accustomed to seeing in the traditional classroom. If students are more reluctant to turn on their cameras, explain to them why they need to use that. You need to have them use their cameras. Students are pretty understanding, and if they understand the reasons, they will be more likely to comply. Tip number 2, use a large screen to display participant images. It's worth the cost of buying a cable to connect your computer to a large monitor or a TV. Next, set up a practice video conference with your colleagues and practice using the dual screen technology. Make sure that you use the view of your students on the large screen. This will allow you to see your students better, including those important visual cues we've been talking about. Seeing the body language and the facial expressions will help you recognize student needs, and I found that it makes me happier and more comfortable in my classes. I really love being able to see my students, and it helps me feel closer to them. Tip number 3, help students understand the impact of their own environment on learning. Even though distance education makes accessing learning possible from everywhere, it increases the possibility of students being in some places that are not conducive to learning. Distractions of students being in some places with having siblings in the room, electronic devices that are on and distracting, or even the family dog running around can become distracting and reduce learning. Encourage your students to find a place away from distractions and also invite students to be in a well-lit room. This will help you to see those visual cues that we talked about and to respond accordingly. Well, my friends, those are the 3 tips I have for you today. 1, encourage and expect students to use their camera. 2, use a large screen to display student images. And 3, help students to recognize their own environment and especially to be in a well-lit room. I enjoy your video classes and happy teaching in the online realm. Remember, you are making a difference in your students' lives.